All right, guys, Black is here. I want to tell you all a story about the first and only rabbit I've ever owned. All right, first of all, the story starts like this. I had a 76 Toyota Corona, not Corolla, Corona. The Corona came out before the Camry. All right, so anyway, it was a station wagon. It was a 76. It had a 4-speed manual. It had a 20R 2.2 overhead cam truck engine. Made decent powers, a little less than 100 horsepower. I think it was 96 horsepower or something like that. It might have been a little bit less than that. But anyway, it ran pretty decent. It was a 4-speed manual. Okay, I used to make my station wagon bark third gear. All right, I used to make it bark second gear. So for people who don't know, barking second or third gear involves when you pull off in first gear, it didn't have an RPM gauge, and I don't remember what speed I shifted at, but you take it up in first gear to high RPM, you shift to second gear and you pop the clutch real hard and you hear this sound. They call it barking second gear. Back then we called it barking second gear. But anyway, it would not bark third gear. The thing didn't have enough power to bark third gear. But there was a way I used to fool the car into barking third gear. What I would do, and you can try this in, you can probably do it in front wheel drive cars, but I used to do it in rear wheel drive cars. I would, again, make it bark second gear. When it's time to shift to third gear, you shift the third gear and you pop the clutch like you normally would, but right before you pop the clutch, you yank the wheel to the right. You don't make a right turn, you just shift right real quick. The weight on the right side will shift to the left. And when that happens, there's not enough weight on the rear wheels and the rear tire will bark. I used to do that all the time. I had friends because back then, everybody wanted to drive a manual transmission. We were real men. Real men drove manual transmission. Only females and gay guys drove automatic transmission. Even my girlfriend wanted a manual transmission. And also automatics back then, this was back in like 1990. And back then, automatics were slow. Automatics was slower than manuals. Especially foreign cars. Automatic was, most foreign cars came automatic or manual. But anyway, getting back to it. So this is what I used to do to make the car bark third gear. And I had friends that would ride with me and they would wonder why I would sometimes jerk the wheel to the right. They just thought I was driving crazy. They never put the two together. So for the long time, nobody knew how to hit third gear but me. And I never would tell nobody because I'm like, y'all see what I'm doing? Y'all ain't figure that out? No. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So anyway, one time I went to go to third gear and I'm in the Corona and I went to shift to third gear, but I shifted the weight a little too soon. And instead of going to third gear, I went to first gear. And when I popped the clutch, the engine revved up, the car slowed down, and it broke the clutch. The transmission, it would shift, but you come off the clutch and nothing would happen. So I had the car towed home, or I towed it home, or whatever. Probably most likely I got my dad's car and pulled it home, because back then, we didn't call tow trucks. We hook a chain and we pulled it home with whatever. We did not call tow trucks. Tow truck? What's a tow truck? Anywho, so before I had damaged my Corona, I had went to an auction and I bought I think it was a 75 or 74 Volkswagen Rabbit. I don't remember what year, but it was a carbureted Rabbit, right? It was a 4-door, and I think it was a 4-speed. It was white, And I never did drive it. I don't even think I got the car to run. I don't remember what was wrong. Back then, I wasn't real good with German cars. Well, with rabbits anyway. So I worked with this cute black guy. I do not remember his name, but he was quiet and he was cute. He turned me on, but I never stepped to him. Why? I don't know. I guess because he was a little too soft. Not sugary soft, just soft. Mama's boy soft. Anywho, I remember taking him home one day and his yard was full of rabbits. His mama had a rabbit. Daddy had like 2 or 3 rabbits. He had a rabbit. His sister had a rabbit. Anywho, so one day I'm riding around and I happened to pass by his house by accident, and I knew his house because the yard was full of rabbits. Nothing but rabbits. So I stopped, turned in, and talked to him, talked to his father, and I asked his father to come to my house to check on my rabbit. He kept giving me excuses. You know, I need you to bring it to my house. I don't go to people's house. Okay, well, I'll give you extra money. Okay, I'll come to your house. Okay, fine, but he never will come to the house. So finally, I came up with a bright idea to trade him my rabbit to fix my Corona station wagon. I don't remember. I most likely did not pay more. I think I paid $70 for that rabbit. I'm not real sure, but it was most back then when I used to go to auction. If I spent $100 on a car, that was a lot of money. I mean, honestly, guys, I probably bought 10 cars for less than $100. Seriously, I even bought a car for $25. The first car I bought from auction myself ran. It was a Toyota Corona Coupe. I told that story before, but I'll tell it another time. Anywho, so I told him I would trade my rabbit if he come put a clutch in my Corona station wagon. He came to put, guess what he came? He came to my house right away and he put nothing but a clutch in the car. What I mean clutch, nothing but a clutch disc. He didn't put a throwout bearing. He didn't put a pressure plate. He didn't change the flywheel, which back then, we didn't change flywheel. We did not change flywheel unless the flywheel shattered. So what is shattered, you ask? When you give a car gas, you come off the clutch and the clutch vibrate. You feel the car jerk real bad. That's a clutch shatter. The clutch needs resurfacing, is what they tell me. The clutch or the pressure plate need resurfacing. Usually it's the pressure, the flywheel. Anywho, so he came to put nothing but a clutch in my car. And I figured it was gonna be okay because, you know, the last time I drove my car, it was bar second just fine, right? So he put the clutch in the car, he takes the wrap and pulled it away or whatever, and I'm happy, right? Wrong. I drive the damn car. You can drive the car, but you can't even bar second gear no more. You put it in second gear, pop clutch, and it was sliding gear. I'm like, I don't believe this crap here. And I'm like, well, I did tell him to put a clutch in it, but this is what happened when you deal with low-class people. You know, low-class people tend to F you around. You know, I mean, that car, I only paid like maybe $70, but the car was worth $200-300. It was worth the price of a clutch, a whole clutch, pressure plate, throwout bearing. It was worth that price. And I sat there and watched the man put nothing but a clutch disc in. But like I said, I figured it would work. I learned my lesson. My dad always told me, if you're going to put a clutch in the car, put a throwout bearing, pressure plate, and a new clutch disc. And then I wonder, where did he get the clutch disc from? Was it new? Or did he buy a cheap one? I mean, did he like buy, was that AutoZone back then? Did he buy like a cheap AutoZone clutch, pressure plate or whatever? Clutch disc, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, the car was drivable. Hell, I drove the car forever, just I couldn't bar second gear no more, which driving a manual that you can't bar second gear is sort of like having a girlfriend that you can't have relations with. I'm dead serious. That's what it's like, you know. Anywho, that is the story of my rabbit thing. And no, I never did mess around with that guy. I don't remember his name. Dre, y'all have a good day. Bye.